Hello, hello. I hope you're having a wonderful afternoon. It sure is a hot one here in Arizona, and I'm looking forward to it cooling off a little bit later this week. I am really excited to be here to talk with you about this topic, which is manifestation. I'm excited about it. Like it says in the kind of blurb, the intro. Not long ago, I was on a consult call with a client who is interviewing different coaches to help her with dating and relationships, and she said, no, thank you. I think I'm going to go with a manifestation coach. I don't think I need to do anything differently. I just need to learn how to manifest. And that really struck me as kind of an interesting thing to say, and possibly a misunderstanding of the whole concept of manifestation. So I wanted to hop on here today and talk a little bit about manifestation and how to manifest an amazing partnership. How do you manifest that? And I say this as someone who has been referred to as a great manifester. I can make things happen. I bring about results in my life. And what does that even mean to be a great manifester? I think it means you bring about great results. I think it means you bring about results that are aligned with your intentions. So how does that relate to dating? Is manifesting like a valid or reasonable thing to even think about when it comes to dating and relationships? Can you manifest an amazing, awesome partnership? Can you manifest a partner in your life who's just awesome for you, who just like fits you hand in glove? Yes and no. It all depends on what you mean by manifest. What my coach teaches, and I love the way that she teaches this because it's super simple and it says very elegantly exactly what I mean. What she says is action plus attraction equals results. And when people say they want to manifest, they focus on one piece of the three things in this equation. They focus on attraction. They think, oh, if I just, use the law of attraction, if I just think about it differently, it will all fall into place. And this isn't exactly true. And I want to tell you a couple of stories to exemplify this because I think it really highlights a difference. And then I'm going to tell you what to do if you're someone who would like to manifest, however you understand that term, an amazing partnership. The first story I'm going to tell you is a little bit of a joke. There's a guy in a floodplain watching TV one day, and he sees an announcement come on. It says, hey, everyone in this neighborhood needs to evacuate. There's a flood coming. And he says, I'm not worried about it. My God will save me. And he starts praying. And a couple of hours later, the water is coming in through his front door. And he says, I'm not worried about this. My God will save me. And he goes up to the first floor of his house. He goes up to the second floor and he's looking out the window and people are coming by on boats and like, hey, get in the boat. He said, oh, I don't need to get in your boat. I'm not worried about it. My God will save me. And he keeps praying and the water is rising and he goes up to the roof of his house and a helicopter comes by to rescue him and they drop the ladder. And he says, no, I don't need the ladder. God will save me. And sure enough, he gets swept away in the flood and he dies. And he ends up before God in heaven. And he says, God, I'm so disappointed in you. You didn't save me. And God said, well, who do you think sent the weather announcement, the rowboat, and the helicopter? And this joke is sort of to remind us that it's not just about changing how we see things or how we think about things. We also have to take action that is in alignment with what we desire to create. We can't take a passive approach, in other words. And when people talk about wanting to manifest, a lot of times what they mean is they want to take a passive approach. And there's a ton of reasons for that. We can go into that another time. Trust me, that's not going to work all by itself. Absolutely essential to change your mindset, not enough. But that's what they mean. They mean they just want to change their mind and they don't want to do things differently. So that's a joke. And I can tell you a story from my own life. There's a time in my life when I was really not happy in my job, not happy in my income situation, really just not happy in my life. And I got really clear one day and I just said, God, you have to fix this problem. I need a better job. I need a better situation. Well, I didn't just hang out and watch rowboats go by. What I did was I said, God, you have to fix this. And then I did my part. I got out there and I started looking at new jobs. And lo and behold, there was a job out there that was just perfect for me. And I got that job. And it was a $20,000 increase in income, which was enough to make my life really comfortable at that time, to go from uncomfortable life where I'm pinching pennies to go to like, whew, I'm going to be okay. If next year's like this year, I'll be fine. And that just demonstrates that it's partly mindset and it's also aligned action. So it's attraction plus action equals results. So if you want to manifest an amazing partnership, the first thing I hope to convince you is, yeah, of course you're going to have to work on your mindset. Of course you are. And you're going to have to take aligned action. You have to do things differently or you don't get different results. And you can do things differently, but do it from the same mindset and you're not going to get different results. Both things have to come together, which is why I work on both of those things inside my Mindful Dating Intensive. And I didn't tell this potential client, hey, I think you might be making a mistake, because she had made her choice and hopefully, God willing, her coach does more than just mindset work and actually coaches her to take action. So hopefully that's going to work for her. But I want my followers and people who are considering Mindful Dating Intensive to really know a little bit more detail about how this works. So first of all, if you want to work on the attraction piece, if you want to work on the mindset piece, and by attraction here, I'm not talking about changing superficial things. What I'm talking about is having sort of habits of mind, having a disposition, having beliefs, thoughts that you think that are going to propel you toward that partnership. The very first piece of mindset change that you will want to make, if you're not there already, is to adopt a growth mindset. And I'm saying this first because maybe the rest of the things I'm telling you are not things you ordinarily think. And what I would like you to shift is, instead of thinking, oh, that's not for me, I don't think that way, this will never work. Instead, think, well, I haven't thought this way before, but I could try it out. I might be able to learn it something new. And the same goes for the actions. You might say, oh, these behaviors are not things that are normal for me. I don't know if I'm comfortable with them. Really adopt growth mindset that says you can learn whatever you don't already know. Doesn't matter if you grew up in a great family that supplied you with all of these emotional skills and relational skills or not, you can learn them. That's the first thing. And it's probably one of the most important things I'm going to say today. So if you need to hop off, this is a fine time. So you want to get a growth mindset. You want to question your thoughts. Just because you think it doesn't mean it's true. And even just because you've had a lot of experiences that support it doesn't mean it's true in all cases. Start to question your thinking. 3, start looking for what you do want. And I say this a lot. A lot of people, I know what I want. I want someone who's not addicted. Did you hear it? I want someone who's not, fill in the blank. Doesn't matter what they're not. Think of a not fluffy cloud. You probably thought of a fluffy cloud. Don't think of a fluffy cloud. You're probably still going to think of a fluffy cloud. I would like you to think of pink cotton candy. I bet you had a much easier time thinking of cotton candy than you did of not thinking of a fluffy cloud. And if you would be so kind as to pop in the chat, whether you thought so or not, the brain doesn't hear not. It's like it doesn't exist. So when you walk around talking about all the things you don't want in a partner, those are the things you're going to be looking for accidentally. And those are the things you're going to find. And those are not what you want. So you have to think what you do want. I'm going to give you like a cheat sheet tip here. Look for someone who's emotionally available. If you want to have a great partnership, look for someone who's emotionally available. If you don't know what that means, look it up on Google, come talk to a dating coach, come to one of my events. That's one of the main things I would look for. But there's a whole bunch of other things that are going to be like tailor-made for you. Bottom line, look for what you do want. The 4th thing to shift in your mindset in order to become like more resonant with that attractive position is to hold the energy of your desire. And what that means is, don't walk around glum and think you're going to get happy later when you find that person. Do whatever it takes to get happy now. However you want to feel when they're in your life, do that now. Generate those emotions now. Hold that energy now. Don't worry about failure. Don't worry about repeating old mistakes. Don't compare yourself to your neighbors and their amazing relationship, or your other neighbor on the other side and their horrible divorce. Hold the energy of the desire. That's another thing I got from my coach. She's awesome. So those 4 pieces will help you shift the attraction piece, the mindset piece of manifesting an amazing partnership. So it's growth mindset, questioning your thoughts, looking for what you really do want to see, and holding the energy of your desire. Next, you're going to need to shift your actions. You're going to need to behave differently. The very first thing I'm going to suggest here is that you learn where self energy is. You get in touch with core self. that place in you where you're calm, compassionate, and courageous, get in touch with that. Do the things that bring you to that kind of alignment with your best self. Next, behaviors. Really master this behavior. And this behavior almost sounds like it's a mindset thing, but it actually is an action you're going to have to take. Develop skills to help yourself calm down. Develop skills to manage your emotions so that you're not walking around fearful, you're not anxious, you're not avoiding, you're not pushing away, you're not snapping, you're really solid and centered, 100% clear and aligned. Thirdly, very different thing, and this goes along with boundaries, and I don't talk about it here. I don't have this in my talking points, but along the lines of boundaries, you're going to want to set boundaries with people you're dating right away, like in your profile kind of, but in a really beautiful way where you describe what you do want, not what you don't want, and you ask for what you do want on a date, and you don't really do things that make you uncomfortable. So you're like, oh yeah, I hear that you'd like to do this thing. I'm not really comfortable doing that on a first date. I'd prefer to do this other thing. So you're going to develop the ability to communicate clearly and compassionately, including when you set boundaries, which really have to happen immediately and early on in the relationship. And I know a lot of people have a hard time with this because you're like, oh, it's new. I don't want to rock the boat. I don't want to have conflict. You're going to have conflict at some point. And if you're the kind of person who has had this experience where you get involved in relationships with people, but once they know the real you, the relationship falls apart, my suggestion is be the real you from the beginning. Someone's going to love that. Somebody's already looking for that. Be that from the very beginning, because then there's not going to be a surprise for either one of you 3 or 4 months or years from now. And fourthly, this is really important, work with a mentor. I personally have I was a psychiatrist for many years. I was a teacher. I taught the theory of change. I taught a lot about accountability and behavior change. I have a PhD in theology. I've done a lot of spiritual practice, did all that. And it really wasn't until I started working with a mentor that I had some help seeing into my own blind spot and could make some shifts in doing things differently. And I was able to actually apply things that I knew, but didn't realize how I was not using them in this situation. So that's another action that I highly recommend for manifesting a great relationship or an amazing partnership, is to work with a mentor, because you're in a pattern and you can't see it, how you're doing it or how you're contributing. When you get a mentor that you trust, a mentor that can give you feedback and you're willing to accept that feedback from that mentor, you're golden. You're going to be able to make progress. So the actions, again, are to really do what it takes to get in touch with self-energy, to develop the ability to manage your physiological responses, to communicate clearly and compassionately, and to work with a mentor. These are the foundational actions that you'll need to take in order to manifest an amazing partnership. I hope this has been helpful to sort of talk about what manifestation means, what it could mean, and to really bring home the idea that attraction plus action equals results. And we can't focus on either the action alone or the attraction alone and expect the results to be different. We need to shift mindset and shift actions in order to have a different outcome. And if this is kind of interesting to you, but say maybe you're not single, or you want to work on career issues, or you're partnered already and you want to do some work on that, I do have coming up in August, about 4 weeks from now, I have the 5-day self-liberation challenge coming up. So if you're interested in diving into that, there will be information coming out in the next week or so. It's been great chatting. Talk to you soon. Bye.